Hi, welcome to the Pong Lab. So Pong's a game that you play with a ball that goes across the screen, and as the ball goes across the screen from left to right, you have two paddles, one on each side, swings back and forth, and your goal is to hit the ball and not let it go off the screen. So we're going to write that game, and we do that, we're going to do it in the multiple phases. So this is part one. And for part one, what we're going to be writing is something called the block class. So the block class is like our main class that everything is going to be dependent on. It implements an interface. So we have a locatable interface. That's gets implemented. Locatable, block implements locatable. And another thing we're going to think about is the fact that block actually is going to become the parent of both ball and paddle. So ball and paddle will extend block, and because they have a lot of common characteristics with our block class. So if you look through the block class, what are the instance variables or fields in the block class? We have X position, Y position, width, height, and then we even have some color as well. Those are all of the different fields that our block will have. Block has some various constructors. We'll look at that in a minute. There's some modifiers or set methods that allow us to set some stuff. Then we'll have a draw method that actually throws the block onto our window. And there's an equals method as well that determines whether or not two blocks are alike. What you'll see in the package file too is that we have two test files. One is called block test1, block test1.java. Its purpose is to determine whether or not the toString works, whether or not the equals method works, any of that sort of stuff. Okay, that will happen with our block test1. Our block test2 file, actually, this is block test2.java. It will determine whether or not our blocks are actually showing up on the screen. So whenever you write a class like this, you want to test it thoroughly. And that's all built in to our project. Here's the project overview. Again, I like to spread out the classes at this point so I can see how they're all connected together. I have an interface called locatable. There's our block class. We test our block class with block test1 and block test2. And this tester just allows us to actually use block test2 and run it. Okay, let's look at each different class. And when you pull this thing up at first, you're going to get a bunch of red marks everywhere, error messages left and right. That's normal. It's because, you know, I set this up without completing everything, and so it doesn't like it. So the first thing you'll notice is that, remember, block is implementing this interface called locatable. It doesn't like it because, guess what? Locatable has a bunch of methods that are currently abstract that we have not made concrete. We have not defined any of these methods, or at least we haven't defined all of them. And until we define them all, we're going to keep getting this error at the top of block. So just know that that's there. That's okay. If you look at block test1, there's some errors here too. So what's happening in block test1? Remember, the purpose of this is to test the toString method and the equals method of our block class. And you'll notice that there's some errors here. And if you click on the thing, it tells you that the constructor block cannot be applied to the given types because what's required are no arguments. That's what's currently in block. But what we have here is how many parameters are coming in? 4. So we need to add some constructors to our block class. How many constructors do we need? Well, if you look at block right now, we have only one constructor, the default one, which takes in no parameters at all. And what we have to do is we have to add some more constructors that take in various parameters. And if you look at block test1, you'll see that we need to come up with a constructor that takes in 4 parameters, and we need to write a constructor that takes in 5. Our first constructor will take in 4 parameters. That would be x, y, width, height. How do I know that? It tells you in the Word document. And the next one here will take in int, x, y, width, height, and color. So I will take you through how to write the first constructor here in public block. So if we go into block, this is our default constructor. We're going to have to do something with that too. Public block. It's going to take in an x, a y, a width, and a height. Now, I can't call it x POS like I have up here because that's my instance variable. So So I need to call it something else. So I'm going to call it XPS, and I have to tell Java to expect an int there. And I need a comma. Okay, and then I'll have an int width and an int height. Okay, what am I going to do with that? I'm going to say, all right, I need to make sure that I'm taking in XPS is coming in, and I want XPOS to equal that. So this is my instance variable. I'm going to take my instance variable and set it equal to what's coming in here. Remember, the purpose of the constructor is to enable the user to, when they instantiate, actually build an object with these parameters. Now you have to make sure that when you're doing stuff in Java that you type it down correctly, otherwise things become problematic. Okay, we also want to take our width, that's our instance variable, and set it equal to the parameter that's coming in. Same with our height. Okay, so what that should allow us to do here is to get rid of at least this error message that you're going to see right there. We're not going to have a problem here anymore. We still have a problem with these two because we have to write another constructor that takes in the color as well. Okay, and if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to have to do some other stuff. Let's see. We also need to add another constructor that takes in x, y, width, height, and color. And then we need our set methods down here also. This would be set x, set y, set width, set height, all of those. Set color is right here, ready to go for you. Here's our draw method. You're going to uncomment this after you write the set and get methods. And then here's our equals method that we're going to define. When are two blocks equal? You have to think through that. Okay, when you're all done with that, let me show you what you should expect to see on the screen when you're all done. I'm going to have probably just a few extra things in here because I'm working a little bit ahead. But I'll show you what you should see when you're done. So block test 1, when you run it, is going to look exactly like the Word document that you have for the Pong Lab 1. Okay? The RGB combination means the colors may change if you pick different colors there. And then when you run block test 2, which you run through the tester, run the main through the tester there, what you'll see is you'll get the screen that has the rectangles on there. That's how you know that you are doing well, you're flying high. Good luck. Have fun. Crank the code.